We saw the teams that belonged in the college football playoffs show that in round one this past weekend, and the pretenders and the charity cases were treated as such. They were belted. So let's talk some college football playoffs with the czar of the playbook, my man Emory Hunt of CBS Sports. What's going on, my man? Let's get straight into this, man, because I love talking ball with you. What did we learn about the college, or what did we learn how the rest of the college football playoffs could shape out after this first round? Like, which teams looked like they were the absolute real deal after this weekend?
Well, based off the weekend, you have to say Miami, if they're able to play defense like this the rest of the way. The offense didn't do much against A&M, but the defense kept them in the ball game and ultimately won that ball game. Now, if they just get slightly better on offense, Miami has the balance to really make some things happen the rest of the way. Oregon looks like the team that has everything cooking on both sides of the ball. They have the best quarterback, in my opinion, in the college football playoff in Dante Moore. Reminds me a lot of C.J. Stroud. And they're in the easier side, quote-unquote, of the bracket. So if you're looking for a team that could get to the end, it's Oregon. And if a team that has that type of fight that you like to see in the postseason, Miami would be the other squad too.
I'm glad you mentioned Oregon because they completely handled JMU with ease. Ole Miss dominated Tulane. And if we even take it back to last year, when we're talking about these G5 teams, Boise State got blown out by Penn State. Jesse Palmer said that he's fine with one group of five team making it into the 12-team playoffs. But do you feel as though any of these G5 teams belong in the playoffs from here on out?
Man, listen, we saw G5 teams get blown out last year in the first round. Ohio State blew out Tennessee, 42-17 in the first round. Penn State blew out SMU, 38-10 in the first round. These Power 5 programs blowing out these lowly G5 programs. Of course, G5 deserves a shot at the table. B. London, listen, we both play ball, college ball. Coach tells us in the spring while we're going through spring workouts, hey, if we win the A10, talk about you at UMass, hey, we got a chance to go compete for a national championship. And you're like, yeah, we do. On the other side of the fence, if at UL and coach like, hey, we got a chance to get to the college football playoff, we win the Sun Belt. Man, be quiet, man. We ain't going nowhere. So I think what should happen is what has already happened at other subdivisions. Every conference champion deserves a seat at the table. So we should have a 2014 playoff at the FBS level, 10 conference champions, 14 at-large bids. The thing is, you want to reward teams for winning their conference championship. You want conference champions to matter. And just think how competitive the regular season will be across the board with teams know if we win our conference, we get to go to the postseason. I think that's the best route for it. I would also take the bowl games and put them in week 0. So now you get these cross-conference matchups that you can use as data points at the end of the season where you're saying, well, if this team is an at-large bid, well, who do they play? How do they play against a team from the Mountain West or a team from the Pac-12? Now we would have that answer in the bowl games in week 0. Start the season a week earlier, play bowl games then, get those cross-conference matchups, and not on the back end, you got conference championship weekend, which now you can have the entire week be conference championships because you got 10 conference championship games to play, and you can still start your postseason at the same time and be done by first week of January. So that's what I would do. The G5 should still have a seat at the table. All conference champions should have a seat at the table. Anybody that tells you otherwise that is not a G5 person, they're compromised.
I'm not compromised, and I don't agree with you because what we just saw, I love JMU. I love how they're, the best team in the state of Virginia, my home state. They didn't belong on the field with Oregon. Like, yeah, come on. Tulane did not belong on the field. So here, I got something for you, though. Are you cool if they had, like, some sort of play-in? Let's say JMU and Tulane had some sort of play-in, like March Madness, and then the winner of that goes into the actual tournament. No?
Did Tennessee deserve to be on the same field with Ohio State last year when they got beat 42-17?
It's Tennessee, yeah. It's Tennessee.
It's an SEC team. So here's the thing. So this is the issue I have with that. And they're trying to marginalize the G5, which has only been a term since 2014. It's usually FBS, FCS, or we are old enough to remember 1A, 1AA. So for me, at the end of the day, I would say make the conference champions be who they are. Sometimes you're going to have upsets. We are seeing currently now the FCS championship game is between Montana State and Illinois State. How did Illinois State get there? They beat North Dakota State.
Yeah.
They were 20-point underdogs. So upsets will happen. Teams will get blown out. Teams that will play tight games. You're going to get all of that in the postseason. I think that's the part people don't realize. I just love doing the work. So for me, I know some of these teams are good, and some of these teams are going to get washed. And we know this football-wise is all about the matchups.
Yep.
And on any given Saturday, who would have thought Texas A&M's offense would have stayed in the regular season and didn't put up points against Miami? And so therein lies what we are looking at. Every game is individual. Some teams, it just maybe that speaks volumes to how good Oregon is or how good Ole Miss is, as opposed to how bad or undeserving Tulane or JMU is. Because again, Tulane did beat Duke, who won the ACC. Now is the ACC now G5? Like so that's so when people try to play both sides of the fence, that's what ends up happening. I just think that if you reward conference champions, the seat at the table, do you give those guys a chance to make things happen? So that's my take on it, and that's where I stand.
All right, let's get into a round 2 early preview. I'm going to name the game. You tell us what you like. First up, Ohio State, Miami. We got the Cotton Bowl. What do you like?
Whew. Man, I like Ohio State, man. That's something that's going to be fun to watch. Give me these dudes of the Buckeyes to get things done. I think the week off and a week of tape against A&M helps them in this ball game.
Michael Irvin would like to have a word with you after that one, man. Next up, we got Texas Tech versus Oregon, the Orange Bowl. What do you like?
I like Oregon. I love Texas Tech's defense, but I can't trust their offense against this Oregon Ducks defense. So give me the Ducks to move on to the next round.
The Rose Bowl, number 1, Indiana versus Alabama. This one looks like it's going to be a classic.
Another Crimson game for the Crimson Tide, right? They played Oklahoma last week. Now they got Indiana. I like Indiana. I think people underestimate how fundamentally sound the Hoosiers are. They do not beat themselves, and Alabama makes a lot of mistakes within the game that could cost them, and I think it'll cost them here against the Hoosiers.
Lastly, number 3, Georgia versus number 6, Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl.
Man, this is a great game. Give me Georgia because I love the point of attack play. That's where Ole Miss beat Tulane up. They won't have that same advantage against Georgia. And I like Gunnar Stockton. He's a gamer. Both quarterbacks in this ball game should bring their A game, but I like the Bulldogs get it done.
All right, M, appreciate you hopping on, man.
Always a pleasure, man.